Today, I want to talk about CD Projekt Red and how they continue to set the game industry on fire. And for those of you who don't know their history, this is a company that began back in the mid-1990s under the name CD Projekt, and they came from literally nothing. They had humble roots and began their business built on localizations, where they grabbed their first real break with BioWare and a localization project for Baldur's Gate. Now, when several of these corporately funded localization projects fell through, the last being a PC port of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, it left CD Projekt literally in no man's land. They had developed and owned all the code for the canceled project, and fueled by that, they decided to take the plunge and create a game themselves. CD Projekt Red was created in 2002 to develop a video game based on the popular series of books by the Polish author Sapkowski. Now, this initial creation was not well received, and the product somewhat floundered around for several years, until BioWare again entered the scene through the licensing of their Aurora game engine to the Polish studio. Development costs ballooned, and certain content had to be cut for budgetary concerns, but after 5 years, Atari published the game under the Witcher title in 2007 to positive reviews. The development of a sequel began almost immediately with The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, but was halted to develop The Witcher White Wolf, which was a console version of the original Witcher. Not long after, CD Projekt Red nearly disintegrated under looming debts for outsourcing and the financial crisis of 2007-2008. To stay afloat, the studio focused on The Witcher 2 using the Witcher 3 engine, known as Red Engine, allowing the game to be ported to other consoles. Finally, after 3.5 years of development, The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings was released in 2011 to critical praise and sales of more than 1.7 million copies, effectively establishing this studio's presence in the marketplace. Looking to push the limits of their game engine and graphical boundaries, CD Projekt Red began work on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Taking nearly 3.5 years development time and costing an astronomical $81 million to create, the much-anticipated sequel was released in May 2015, selling 6 million copies in the first 6 weeks. Since then, the studio has released 16 free DLCs and 2 paid expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. Starting in early 2017, CD Projekt Red and The Witcher began to see steady growth, as evidenced from the Steam charts. Casuals and hardcores alike were gradually finding their way to this incredible franchise. Now, through the company's design philosophy of quality over quantity and putting the consumer first, The Witcher 3, a title that was released in mid-2015, has continually gained player counts. The steady sales of The Witcher 3 led to this tweet from the studio in late February of 2020, stating that the accumulated revenue from the sales of The Witcher 3 on the Steam platform from October 2018 to the time of this tweet had exceeded $50 million, and as a result, the studio would now be getting 80% revenue cuts on any subsequent sales of The Witcher 3 on Steam. Lost in all the success the studio garnered thanks to its Witcher franchise doing so incredibly well was the announcement of the upcoming title Cyberpunk 2077, which was unveiled at the 2012 CD Projekt Red Summer Conference. The official teaser trailer for this futuristic title hit YouTube in January of 2013 and has been viewed more than 5.3 million times and has been upvoted to hell. The positive vibes for the studio and its craftsmanship has garnered huge profits for CD Projekt Red, totaling $124.7 million in 2019. That's up 44% from its previous mark of 2018. The Witcher 3 sold 6 million copies in 2019 alone, twice that of its 2018 sales. Sales for The Witcher have continued to improve and led to this tweet from the studio in May of this year announcing that 50 million copies had been sold. Powered by the continued success of their Witcher sales, the release of the Nintendo Switch edition of The Witcher in October 2019, the Witcher Netflix series, and the release of the insanely popular Witcher card game, Gwent, on Android devices during the first quarter of 2020, this once obscure studio has risen to become the second largest European video game company as of February of this year. According to this GameSpot article, CD Projekt's market valuation climbed to the $8 billion mark, up from its previous valuation of $6.8 billion taken just 1 month prior. Now, this incredible increase in value placed CD Projekt in second place, only behind that of French giant Ubisoft, valued at $9.6 billion. Powered by the success of the Witcher Netflix series, sales of The Witcher 3 increased by 500%, and along with the almost uncontainable hype for Cyberpunk 2077, set to launch in September, CD Projekt has placed itself within striking distance of taking out the French publisher for the top spot. Fast forward just 3 short months to May of this year, and according to gameplay mechanics, CD Projekt Red had indeed closed the gap and surpassed Ubisoft. Now, according to the figures, Ubisoft was being valuated at 7.82 billion euros to CD Projekt Red's 8.01 billion, and it led to this tweet from a CD Projekt Red employee simply stating, "It would have been impossible without you." Now, trying to offer you just a bit of context to this financial overtake, and the fact that this has happened is simply amazing. This is the corporate form of David versus Goliath, and to put it another way, imagine Ricky Bobby showing up to an F1 race with his 5-year-old NASCAR, yelling out, "I want to go fast," and then proceeding to beat down every other car on the track. Now, to be fair, the markets are in a constant state of fluidity, and Ubisoft is admittedly in a bit of a rut, with no new titles hitting the market the first quarter of this fiscal year. Now, despite solid titles such as their Rainbow Six Siege and a resurgence in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Ubisoft has struggled to maintain a broad portfolio of IPs in the marketplace. CD Projekt Red taking over the top spot from Ubisoft is really the culmination of the perfect storm. You've got great increases in sales and popularity in the Witcher franchise. You've also got hype and pre-sales for Cyberpunk 2077, all the while Ubisoft is not able to release anything new and is relying on a few IPs to maintain a solid presence in the arena. Now, I don't want to take anything away from CD Projekt Red and their accomplishments. They have consistently impressed me with their consumers first mentality and business model of incredible quality over quantity versus what publishers like Ubisoft and others have resorted to, which are heavily monetized titles that nickel and dime the player base. But let's be real here. Once Ubisoft releases titles like Watch Dogs Legions, Rainbow Six Quarantine, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and the possibility of a new Far Cry game, they will instantly regain the top position. But the mere fact that CD Projekt Red is able to be a part of this discussion is incredible. And this leads me to the penultimate portion of this upload. Yesterday, CD Projekt Red uploaded a YouTube announcement outlining their Q1 2020 financial results, and these are truly incredible sales figures. According to the announcer, sales revenues reach in excess of $48 million US, and all of this from a publisher that is relying on the sales from what really amounts to one franchise, and that franchise was introduced in 2015. Now, I will include a link to this video in the description below, and I encourage you all to watch it, as it really is a testament to transparency and workplace positivity. The announcer thanks the employees as well as the fans and purchasers of the franchise. During this announcement, it was also stated that CD Projekt Red had spent nearly $13.5 million on the development of new video games and technologies during this quarter alone. Cash accounts and bank deposits increased by $32 million. At the conclusion of this announcement, it was announced that since E3 has been canceled for this year, the studio is cooking up something called Night City Wire to be held on June 11th, where they will tell us even more about Cyberpunk 2077, so keep that date open. Breaking script and just speaking from the heart, and I've got to say, in a day and time of subpar titles flooding the markets all ripe with insane monetization schemes, it is truly refreshing to see a company like CD Projekt Red come along and take a completely different approach and succeed with it. Witcher 3 is a masterpiece of pixelated artwork that will remain relevant for many years to come. I've got nothing but goodwill towards this publisher and can't wait for their next large reveal in June and the eventual coronation of their next mega hit, Cyberpunk 2077, in September. I'm going to end this one right here and look forward to reading your thoughts and feelings about CD Projekt Red. The Witcher franchise, and the upcoming release of the much-anticipated Cyberpunk 2077. If you haven't yet done so, please hit the subscribe button and make sure to ring the bell so you never miss one of my upload notifications. If you like the video, rate it with a thumbs up, if not with a thumbs down. If you feel like supporting my content creation outside of YouTube, check in the video description for links to my Patreon and merchandise store. Follow me on Twitter for all my latest gaming news and reviews. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.